Tyler can't connect, so we're good. So
yeah, yours is better than Tyler. So
yeah, much better. So maybe he'll join, maybe not. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Spin Rundown. It is November 1st. We're back to regularly scheduled programming, and we have special guest, the 2023 Rogue Invitational champion, Pat Vellner. How's it going?
Not too bad. I'm on holidays now. So
yeah, you said you were going to a cabin. You was this planned, I guess, ahead of time that go do Rogue and then take some time off?
It was, but it always feels nicer when you win to go on holidays. You don't have anything hanging over your head, so it's nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. Great weekend at Rogue, without, a little bit of ups and downs as we saw. Weather was a big play in that, right? Like delays, changes to what was maybe communicated at one point. How did you navigate that personally? And kind of what was the atmosphere as things just kept on changing throughout the weekend?
You try to just roll with it. I think in general, it was frustrating for everyone, for the athletes, for the Rogue team. Like nobody wants to be having to pivot and go to plan D. Like it sucks. And I think everybody, all things considered, would have preferred to just do everything how it was planned and how it was written and execute the weekend the way it was meant to be. So, I look at all the changes that we made and I feel like I'm glad the weekend turned out the way it did, because it feels like every change that got made kind of made the workouts slightly worse for me every time. So that's like a little bit annoying, but again, you can't really worry too much about that stuff. It's fine. You just have to go out and do it. But we were shocked a few times. I mean, the Saturday ran quite late, and we were ready to be going home when we were deadlifting there. So there was a lot of time. Same within the duel. Just those two events, format wise, keeps everybody on the field for a long time, and you're not allowed to leave even if you're done. Mm-hmm. So everybody kind of is like, "Fuck, man, it's 9:30 p.m. Like, why am I out here watching Chandler lift again?" And everybody gets
so, meanwhile, Chandler's like, "Let me do one more."
Yeah, like, you gotta be kidding me, man. But we and then the Sunday was just, frankly, I was surprised we did that Hulk hands workout, even with the modifications. Just having a heavy implement overhead that gets slippery on the handles. The way it started raining when the women went out there, we were watching, the men were all watching in the back, like maybe they'll change it for us. Cause like when we were in the warm-up area, it was looking like it was only picking up steam. And then it's hard once you get one heat out there and you get scores, like you've made your bed, like you got to do it. Everybody's got to do it, or at least within that division. So we thought maybe there'd be another pivot for the men, and we were kind of waiting to hear, but it went as planned, and it cooled down a bit. The second heat of women, I think, got the worst of it. It was pounding when they went out. And, I feel like those things are annoying when you're in the warm-up area and you forget all about it once you get on the floor. You just like, it is what it is. You do it. I remember getting on the last bike, and when you started the fan, it just sprayed all over your face from the blades all sitting in the water. So, little things all through the weekend, but everybody has those little frustrations. So you can't worry too much about it. You just have to try to keep rolling forward.
Yeah. That was one thing I kept on thinking about is, it was dry, but then like you said, if one heat goes and then the second heat has something that they couldn't do, like that would just obviously ruin everything. So, I think that was the toughest part for the Rogue team, was trying to figure out, do we pause something? Do we modify it, even though it's good weather now, because it could be bad in the next hour?
I think that's the thing that they did a good job of, as the weekend went on. Like I said, you can love it or hate it, but like they made decisions and they stuck to them and they just went and did it. And that's what happened on the Friday that pushed the day back. That was supposed to be our short day. Like we were meant to be done at 4 p.m. or something like that. And we didn't end up done till like 7 or 8 because they delayed to see if the rain would quit for the monkey bar workout. And then it wouldn't. And there was like, they were kind of going by 20-minute delays and checking weather report and weather. And in the other days, that day only had 2 events, but when you have 3 events and you got strongman events to juggle with and all this other stuff, the schedule can't just keep pushing. Like it's like something's got to happen, right? Or you got to cancel an event or something. So we did 9 events as planned. Like some of them changed, but like the duel was a good example. They took the rope climb out like first thing in the morning. And then by the time we did that event, it was dry. It would have been
rain at all.
Would have been totally fine. But I think they couldn't take the risk because on Saturday, the strongmen had to compete a bunch because they actually cut one event from the day before and they got rained right out and they had to finish all their stuff. And we had to pack 3 in and then get 3 in the next day. So there just wasn't room in the schedule to move it even an hour if the rain started. So they just said, if we take the rope climb out, we know we can do it. And then that's what they did. So I think as the weekend wore on, they started making more decisions like that, and they learned from that Friday. And by the end, they ended up just doing what they said. It was like we were kind of waiting, looking at the weather, thinking surely something might change, but they went through with whatever they committed to, and it was fun. I think given the conditions, it's actually pretty incredible what we were able to do. So it's pretty awesome. And in hindsight, you look back at some of those things and it was pretty rad doing that workout in the rain, and there's some cool photos and it's fun opportunities to do things like that. But I'd rather be an athlete doing that than a fan in the stands.
Yeah. John,
the best part was just watching how y'all went down the hill. Roman celebrating, and then you just passed him running, which was hilarious. I know he still ended up winning, so it didn't matter. But his slide was it. Well, yeah, the heat. His slide was so ineffective, and it looked like it was going to be really effective. Did you watch Emma Lawson try to slide it off?
No. So, and here's the thing, you can slide and it's fine. And it actually it chewed your legs up a bit to run down the hill, but we were meant to be running the hill in the next workout. So I actually used that as like data gathering to be like, how well can you run the hill? Like in the shoes I was wearing, like with like, what's the traction like going down? Is this something that you can actually free flow down like you would normally, or do you have to be really, really careful? And I was like, I was able to run down it fine. It was in that workout, your legs were tired at that point, so it was a little hard. But I was in past years at Rogue, I've been quite good on the hill, so I was kind of like banking on having some hill in that big cat workout, and then I was testing it for that, and then they took it out. So it was, it was funny. Chandler's slide was the best one though. There's a video of that. That's just I can't imagine doing that in the middle of a workout.
The females did not slide as well as the guys did.
I don't think the women tried to.
No, I think it was Laura slid down, and then Emma Lawson tried to slide down and just got halted, and then like got back up and tried to run. It was really funny because the first girl slid and it worked, and then the next girl slid and it didn't work. And
we're just heavier.
Everybody abandoned it really, really fast. It was really, really funny.
We're not better at it. We're just heavier, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and the women had less clothing on, so it probably wasn't as aerodynamic and slippery. You mentioned the duel. Like one of the things is, top 5 got a bye. I think there's been a lot of chat about whether the bye was actually helpful, right? Like, yeah, you get guaranteed top 15, but you're starting off with the other athletes that did make it through having some more experience on kind of the best practice of getting over and under the log and doing the sandbag. Do you what is your kind of opinion on that one? Would you rather have the bye and kind of guarantee top 15 or get one more shot at, when everybody else is seeing it for the first time?
No, it's really obviously not an advantage. It's actually really obviously a disadvantage. The one thing that they've done well on the 3 iterations is they've taken feedback every year on it. The first year, having a 205 squat snatch triple that you have to do touch and go. And by the time that first heat or that bye heat goes in that year, this year and the year before, we got to be the first heat in the second round. In the other years, we were still the last heat. So you had to wait for 5 heats to go plus the recalculation of times. And then you finally went. And you all come down at the same time. And in that first year, they didn't have equipment for us to stay warm with. So you basically cold pull the 205 squat snatch after like an hour of sitting. And so everybody just got, I think 2 people in our heat advanced that year. It was like, and then the next heat that they went, they all said it was way easier. And then the other disadvantage you have is you've lost the 5 slowest people. So in the first round, you can ease into it a little gentler because there's 5 slower guys that are going to get out. But now you're only racing the 10 best guys, and then you get put in. So there's less room for error because everybody that's left is better, and they have a practice run on you. So But the first year, the movements they picked were not great for that buy. The next year it was better because there were more, it was lighter weight. The loading was more appropriate for having to sit for a long time. But there was issues with obviously people just sprinting through 10 overhead squats, pumping them super fast. It's hard to track hip extension and those things.
Yes.
And you get one no rep and you're out, right? So I think those style of workouts to me work best for one, if they're the last event of the day. So even if you go 5 times, there's no disadvantage for the next event. And also that you have movements that are really objective to judge, like stuff like burpee box jump overs, like the rope climbs that they've done where it's pretty clear if you touch the beam or not. Like those things are really great. So this year's iteration, even as it was written, was really nice. Over, under, over the log. Like there's no way to get a no rep there. Do you touch the beam? Do you not on the rope climb? And then do you get the 3 bags in the thing? Like there is no judgment call. So that's what's really nice actually about the iteration they had this year. I think they took feedback from the following 2 years and actually made a better version, but you got to be selective with the movements you pick. It's really hard because a judgment call can just trash you. And the buy is not awesome. It's a long time sitting. And it's stressful. Like you are never more stressed than you watch that first 3 heats go, and then we went out and you're like, yeah, and you have one shot to try to be good again after sitting for a long time and you're racing the best. And then you got to watch this year, we got to watch the other guys go. So I fortunately won their heat. So I knew I only had to beat one other guy and I was in, which was like, I thought that might be fine, but we weren't fast. Like we weren't the best heat. That's for sure.
Yeah. What was the story with the box and touching the box? Like, was that actually a requirement or?
So no, the way that what had happened was the reason we were delayed so much is they took the rope climbs out to make sure they wouldn't have a rain delay, but then they had it's a technology delay. Like the chip timers were not working and like there was some issue with synchronicity and something. So the women actually went down and took the field and were ready to go. And they brought them all the way back up to the warm up area after like 30 minutes. And then when we saw them come back up, we were like, great, we're not going forever. And, they fixed that. So when we went down, they told us, hey, we had problems with this leading up to the event. As a fail safe, right now they're working, but what we want you to do is we want you to touch the box when you cross the line as well. And they're going to clock time when they see your hand touch the box. So if your chip fails, I think they had 2 or 3 different people clock timing each lane so that if the chip failed, they would take the average of those 3 clock times and that would be your score. So it was a pretty good fail safe, but that's why like Hopper in the first heat didn't touch his box and he's lucky his chip worked.
Yeah, that was
right.
But
it wasn't clear.
Made it seemed like he was not going to get a time. Like we didn't know until we had been told like your chip timer should work, touch the thing. Cause if it doesn't work for any reason, your score is going to be when you touch the block. But that wasn't your absolute score. It was still chip timed.
Got it. And then I think what everybody kind of wants to hear is get to the final event. You have a 65-point lead, and then you get to that last clean and jerk, right? And very similar to what happened last year. Like, what is going through your mind when you're inches from locking out and the bar falls down and you have to get that thing back up quickly?
I've got lots of time. I had 65 points in hand. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's not like last year. I know a lot of
people
people it's like last year.
I
you were the underdog last year.
And it was annoying to me, mostly because I was like, oh, it's literally like it's the same rep. It's a clean and jerk at 225. And to me, that just like now I'm like, oh, it looks like I just like
you haven't done anything for a year.
But the reality of it is like Sunday, I was in a good position going into Sunday, and I played the game on Sunday. I'm frankly not super proud of the way I competed on Sunday because the first event, I mean, I pushed it pretty hard at the end to try to close the gap on the bike. And I that was fine. I probably started a bit faster than I needed to in that one and stumbled a bit on the clean and jerks on the way back, but or the ground to overhead. Second event, I straight up just stood by Jeff for the whole workout. And then the last one was like, you have a lot of time. It's a fast workout, so you don't have time to fool around. But the way I was going at the clean and jerk in the end, I did my first 3 and it's like, they're getting heavy and I didn't want to sit there and like walk across the line. And like, look, I feel like that just looks bad. So I still tried to push it on the last few reps. And when I missed the one, it was just like a bad launch. And I just thought, okay, Like, don't panic because you have time, but you have time to hit the next one. I probably could have missed one more and still hit one and still won, but you don't want to, you can't panic. Like, you can't stop swinging the bat, right? Like, I think like you miss one and it's like, great, it's still a 225 clean and jerk. Like, it doesn't, if you start freaking out after you miss one, now you're in trouble. But I just like took a second. I'm like, you're fine. Like, do it. I would have rathered a like 420 something score I would have got than like a 440, but like, it's fine. So it would have been a cleaner redemption run is what I wanted if I didn't miss the last one, but it's a bit shitty to miss the last rep of the competition. But hey, man, win's a win.
That's true. John?
I said he was just trying to give Jeff false hope.
Well, I think Jeff was trying to root on Hopper down there, trying to get you.
Hopper wasn't helping him out.
I think he was trying to get Brent across and so that we could get that 3 Canadian podium again.
I know.
It's so close.
Don't give Brent crap about that again. I mean, he was probably pretty hurting.
I'm not giving Brent shit about that. Are you kidding? That's like he's dealing with enough. I think the universe owes him one at this point in his career. But I mean, it was a good. The way the event kind of went is I was really good on Friday and Saturday, and Jeff was really good on Thursday and Sunday. Yeah, and so there was more events on Friday and Saturday than there were on Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah,
so I got the win. That's kind of how it went. So
you're taking some time with the family. A few more months. Are you going back to Wodapalooza this year?
Yeah, I'll be there this year.
Are you? Is Team PB and J coming back, or you got different plans?
Have to wait and see.
All right. What's that?
I'm going to do both divisions again this year, and I'm off in the UK there in December for a little bit. So we got a few things coming up. Trying to enjoy some downtime while I can, and just awesome. I'm beat up. It was a big weekend. My body.
How are the hands?
They're a bit. They get cracked. They're a bit like that right now. They're sore. I feel like that deadlift bar is when you have to do like 15 lifts, it's not very forgiving. So everybody's hands were even pretty sore after that. The monkey bars and the deadlift bar and those 120 snatches in the humidity too. I feel like that shredded my pinkies up a little bit. They took a kicking. I think I had like 7 blisters by the end of the weekend.
Better or worse than the games?
Different. Like the fingers is different. Like I have the big ones like right at the bottom of your hand. So like when you're gripping a barbell, it sucks. And the pinkies, like I can't close my hand really even on the left, on the right side. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like it was good experience at the games. When I had them this weekend, I just thought, you know what to do. You've been through this before. It's fine. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, when we had Kotler on Friday night, and he had mentioned that you guys were going to use the deadlift aggro bar, and I was like, yeah, that thing's going to be tearing into your hands, especially after we thought a rope climb too. Like that was going to be a lot, but the rope climb I think saved you guys a little bit.
I mean, this is the thing. Everybody, because of the weather on the monkey bars, like I bet you after the log muscle up and the monkey bar workout, we had probably 60% of the field had ripped hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just like it wasn't just you, right? Like you could sit there and be like, oh, my hands hurt, but like so does everybody's. Like everybody's hands were taped up. You're trying to figure out a way to grip that deadlift bar and not like feel it really bad. So it was the deadlift bar hurt. That was like for like an hour and a half, just going in and sinking your hands into that bar one after another. It was it was a good time.
Yeah,
not so much today at least, which was nice.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on, man. I don't want to take too much time out of your holiday with the family. So go enjoy the rest of the evening with the family, and we'll see you at Wodapalooza.
Yeah, thanks so much. See you guys out there.
All right. See you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Later.
Am I going to work?
I think so.
Okay.
Man, haven't
Let me
seen you in
see.
like a month.
This is better. This is weird because I'm having to like do it off my phone. Let me try this. So I'm looking a little bit closer to where you guys are. That'll work. Sorry.
So you're a married man.
Yep. Got married.
We missed you this weekend.
Yeah. I was supposed to come on and things got away from me. I think you and a couple other people were like, hey man, I wouldn't plan anything. And then I went ahead and did it. And then I realized I was going to have time for nothing. So anyway,
that was not the best idea, but
No.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. How much of the Rogue did you get to watch?
I watched the first event, and then I watched the last event, and between events on Sunday, I watched the muscle up one.
Yeah.
And I've
Well-
tried to catch up, but it's been an all out sprint since I've been back.
Well, I'm glad you're back because you did calculate the P score, and I think people might be interested to see
You
how
think?
performance scoring, how that looked at Rogue. So before I pull it up, what were you surprised by, or what's kind of the major headline on performance scoring?
I think everybody's
on the
like
P-score?
On the P score,
Yeah.
yeah.
So John, you don't have any context going into what we're going to see. So what do you think you would see if you performance scored it?
I think Laura would probably be higher than a 5-point gap. I think she would win more easily.
And that's exactly what we saw. Which, I mean, like, thanks.
I think does the duel skew that at all, though? I don't know how you score that one.
So the duel was the only one I couldn't rescore. And my philosophy on that one is it's like an execution based workout. So if you slip, like it's more based on placement anyway. Like it's not really tied to your actual performance. Like if you mess up, there's no forgiveness there. So
do you just give them the points that they scored then in that one?
Yeah. Yeah. So everything's different except for that workout.
For the men, I assume the men would be pretty as is.
Yeah, it was mostly as is. Unless you saw something I didn't see spin. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here on the screen. Real quick while I do that, Tyler, people if they were watching last year, following along, they had Z score. So what is the difference between Z score and P score?
So Z score, the reps, the seconds, they're all different on a point scale, and that made people not be able to understand it very well. And so P score is linear. I take the top score and the middle score, and I say there's 50 points between there. And then based on that spread, it's 50 points down to the bottom of the same distance. So it's like if your best score is 2 minutes and your average time essentially is 4 minutes, that's a 2-minute window. And then 4 minutes to 6 minutes. 6 minutes is the 50 to 0 window. So you have a 4-minute window on the entire scored points of the workout.
And so that's what
you can score 0 points if you have a time because you're beyond the 6-minute time window of if you're too far below the average, you can get 0.
Right.
And that's what happened at Crucible, right?
Crash. So the only thing I did different, I wanted to try out this time what would happen if we scored it where like half the 50 percentile mark to the last person was a different line than 50th to the best. Does that make sense? So it's technically 2 different slopes. And I did that just to see how it would play out. And it was essentially there was no difference between me scoring it with the aggressive P score where you could go negative and this. So it worked out well.
So if you can see on here, Laura Horvath originally, if you look at the Rogue scoring, had 780 points. Tia Claire Toomey or had 770. Laura, however, keeps about the same number of points, but Tia's drops down to 723. So it's almost a 60-point gap using P score. What was the main culprit on that?
What I saw was event. I originally told, I think, Brian Friend that it was event 6. Or no, event there was one. Okay, yeah, event 4. So what was event 4?
Event 4, that was, oh man,
well, anyway, she actually made a few points on that one. Instead of the 65-point difference, it was 60.
10th inning. Yeah.
Yeah. But essentially, like, anytime Laura was ahead, she never felt like that far behind Tia. Or anytime Tia was ahead, she never fell that far behind Tia. But Tia had some huge slips. Number one being event 4, and then the other. And see, it's like it's tough
Event
because
4 would have been different. You're saying Tia lost ground on event 4?
Now Tia gained like 5 points of ground on event 4. But then like it's just hard because like anytime Laura lost points, she just didn't lose hardly any. Like in event 6, it was straight across like 90 and 90. She didn't lose any points on that. But then event 6, Tia lost 10 points, 85 and 10. It's like you do that across a couple events, and it's just like you're gonna lose 60 points fast.
Yeah, I mean that's where just because you like lose, you still can actually improve against the other person because you may get more points than the rogue scoring because you did,
right.
That gap was closer than maybe you thought it would be otherwise.
But
actually, looking at it,
to help
go
people
ahead.
out a little bit. To help people out a little bit. For instance, if you look at Danielle Brandon, she's I think the highest jumper here.
Yeah, from 7th to 5th.
That's because of her handstand walking event. She's so far ahead of second place.
Yeah.
Which means she gets 100 points and second place would get like 85 points. Where most of the time, first place gets 100 points and second place would get like 97 points because they're not that far behind. But if you can if first place has a huge gap, then second place would be like 85, third place would be 83, and then it keeps on going down from there. So she makes up ground, like a lot more ground than a normal event win would be.
And actually looking at it now, Tia lost 20 additional points when you P-score it on event 9. So in
because it's such a short race.
Right, it's such a short race. So in the original scoring, she would have got 90 points, and in P-scoring, she got almost 70 points, 71. So it's she made a huge loss on that. But it's like Laura was so far ahead of everyone.
Yeah. I mean, when Laura was good, she was really good.
Yeah, but it's surprising because it's like that's a workout you'd think Tia would do well at. I'm wondering if she got some no reps or something like that slowed her down.
She missed 1 rep.
Yeah,
but she kind of slowed down whenever she knew it was gone.
It was over. Yeah.
On the men's side, we would have a different podium. We would have the Canadian trio.
Oh, we should have brought this up with Pat. Like while he was here.
Yeah.
You knew that ahead of time. You should have said that, Brian.
I wasn't thinking about it.
It's all right.
I need to get
to make it on the show.
I need to get him off. Get him back to his family. But I mean, Brent would have moved up. I don't think there's. I mean, Jay Crouch.
It was still really close.
Yeah, Jay Crouch makes the biggest jump. Speaking of Jay Crouch, can anybody guess his age in the comments?
I think I know.
In the comments, Tyler.
In the comments, how old do we think that Jay Crouch is? Because I did not think he was his age.
He was that young. Or that old.
I think Kathy's from Australia. She might know.
Yeah, if I'm going to put money on anybody guessing, it's going to be Kathy.
So
what is
far,
this? 23? Come on, nobody guessed 23. So
you're wrong.
Yeah, 24.
24.
Jay is 24 years old. He's been in the sport for basically ever. I had no idea he was that young. And so I think about his trajectory and his improvement. Like, I was thinking he was more like 27, 28. And with after 30th place performances the last couple of years, it's like, yeah, he's not going to improve anymore. But the guy was only 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, he's so young.
Happened. Like, the guy has so much room, and his deadlift was great. Like, he's stronger than you think he is.
And I think my body changed the most between like 23 to like 28.
15?
No way. I think 14 and 15, like it does. You grow. And
He said no way.
You get stronger and stuff, but you're still weak. But then like between 20, I would say 23 and 28, that's when like you start to get like, I think you guys were talking about this on the show, like your trunk starts to grow, like you just start to thicken up, like you start to get actual mature muscle. And so it's like Jay still has all that to go through.
Well, we can't put too much on that because they all thought that Hoffer was going to do terrible in that event, and then he comes out and crushes it. So,
Right.
but no, I mean, you're right. Like I think he has a lot of room to continue to grow, and I personally, I think he has a better chance of continuing to climb up the leaderboard than I thought he did. Just without that fact.
How good of a chance? Because I don't see it.
You don't see it? Like you think this was like a 1 year flash in the pan? He's going to be back in the 15th?
No, because he did good at the games too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's like a Yonakoski.
He's just a consistent perennial athlete that just kind of.
Yeah, and I think he can improve. He is improving, but like I think sixth or fifth is like the top, the Super Saiyan J crowd. I don't see the qualities that can
Of a
make
winner.
him go past that.
I don't think I disagree. I could see him push for top 5, like just barely peek into top
But like
5.
a Yonakoski, like I genuinely see. That's what I see. I see a Yonakoski.
It's not a bad career, but
no, it's not. But we're talking about continuing to improve. Like, I think we all can agree, like Hopper could eventually get to the podium.
What did you have him at?
Like Dallin Pepper could eventually get to the podium. I mean, I know some of you guys think they can win. I don't think they can win, but I could see that in the future. Right, Ricky could eventually win. Like we could see, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. I don't see that in Jay Crouch, and like my opinion could change, but I don't see it.
I want to see what he does next year before saying that he could be on the podium, but I definitely think he has a top 5.
He's going to get 10th next year.
We'll see. I mean, if he improves on that and gets his 5th or 6th, I think he has that ability to maybe keep moving up. But we got to see that year-over-year progression.
So this is the way I like to use P-score is it kind of implicates that he has the ability to be like 6th in this field, but what are we missing? We're missing like some weird swim event or some weird like test like that. We're missing like, what are you talking about?
Well, he probably has more home run ability
in the games. Yeah.
Yeah.
For what?
Well, this is showing that he's outperforming his place.
No.
Relative.
I get what you're saying, but I think he's more of a consistent person, and I don't see the home run hits from Jay Crouch.
Right, but so if we're going to extrapolate this and say, okay, this is equivalent to the games, like you always say this is the best outside competition for guessing towards the game. So what are we missing at Rogue that we're going to get at the games? We're missing like the weird swim events. We're missing, and those I think would do better for Jay because he's not as heavy. He's a little bit more athletic, stuff like that. So
yeah, but every single strength thing that we've ever seen, he would take somewhat of a hit on regarding the top 5. And then we found out he's a very good deadlifter. Being a great deadlifter does not mean you're great at anything else. Patrick Vellner is just strong enough to be okay, right? At every lift there is. Snatch is probably his best one, right? But a clean and jerk or a clean, he's like about 10th. Yes or no? Squatting, he squats 465, about 10th, right? Deadlift, he deadlifts freaking 600 pounds. Like Jay Crouch has the same ability that Vellner has, that Hiller has. Hiller is the same way. Hiller's strength numbers are not insane, except his deadlift. His deadlift is insane. I know he bench presses a lot. I don't need him in the comments if he's listening. But you see what I'm saying, right? It doesn't mean strength all the way around. It definitely doesn't mean Olympic lifting strength. It's just some people are really, really good deadlifters, and anatomically their body is geared to deadlift, and usually it means they're a bad squatter. But Kyra Milligan proved me wrong on that. Usually it does. Usually it does.
Spin. What were our bets last week?
I don't think you want to go through that time.
I want to go through it. Let's go through it. I think I owe John $40, right?
Well, the first one was, and I don't know if you looked at the leaderboard close enough, but the first one was Lazar Jukic or BKG. The second
higher.
one was
Yeah.
Chandler Smith or Lazar Jukic.
It actually
Jeez.
came out way closer than you think, Tyler.
And BKG, Chandler
back to
Smith,
back to back.
Lazar Jukic.
Yeah.
all within
Now,
30
in
points.
the beginning of the competition, it's kind of sucks I didn't watch it because in the beginning of the competition, BKG was like 6th and Chandler was like 4th until Sunday.
And
Until
Lazar
Sunday.
was
They were
like
in that
17th.
position until and
Yeah.
Lazar was 17th until Sunday, and then those two both kind of choked it down, and Lazar picked it up, which is crazy because it was like so much of a bad bet for you, and then it actually turned to pretty solid, like you know what I mean, like pretty close bet.
So there was a bit of drama about my picks last week. So I kind of wanted to walk through. I actually did end up like Travis was close. Nobody predicted BKG that low, and I was the only one who was close on that. And then Jay, I think I got pretty close on too. I think I guessed him 8th, and he was 9th. And then so like,
yeah, the men's side you did much better. The women,
yeah.
So where was Vellner for you?
Oh, he was not.
He was like
not
7th
good.
or something.
He was
Yeah.
not. He was not.
He was
I'm glad you had these miscellaneous picks that happen to be close together, Tyler.
So I wanted to walk through that because some folks were like being a little bit too outraged by it. So I was trying something different. I was trying to pick like more correlating events that I thought that were going to correlate. And so getting ready for the wedding last week, I had very little time. And so like I was rushing through this process, trying to do like this new thing. And then I ran out of time and Spin was like, where's your picks? Where's your picks? And I was like, I have to send him something. So I was just like, do I send him this garbage? Like I knew it was hot shit. And I was just like, this is going to drive John nuts.
You
let's
love
just
Hopper.
run it.
You love Hopper. I don't know.
Well, no. So Hopper, I placed him up. I was like, I'm putting him up regardless
Hey,
of what
he was
happens.
5th for a while. Like it's not terrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, he didn't do terrible anyway. I expected a little more out of him. Is it not weird that these guys just continue to get the same places at Rogue?
Travis and Tyler, or Travis and
Jason? Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I mean, it was the men's leaderboard was all over the place all weekend. I mean, they were just up and down. There was no consistency. The women's, like the top 6, kind of just
Like
started
Dallin
to pull
was
away.
trash until day 3.
Yeah.
Right.
And one great day shows him he moves up from, I don't know, 17th up to 8th or something crazy.
Yeah.
And so it's we do need to compare our picks and see that just how off you were, but I think people would be surprised.
Oh, I was terrible.
You're not as far off as people may have thought, right?
No.
Where did you have Hopper, John? Was that about? Did you?
7?
End up at?
7?
Yeah, he's in 7th.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I don't remember where I had him. You have a list.
I think Kathy, I can't believe you scheduled your wedding on the same weekend as Rogue.
Like 10th. I think I had Hopper like 10th.
Yeah.
I think when we scheduled it, I knew I was going to do it in late October. And then, so I think I just said one day, like the 27th, which I didn't know was a Friday. And then, later I went and checked and I was like, oh shit, it's on Rogue. And I was like, I can't back out of this now. Like we're too far in. So whatever.
Patrick Clark, Crouch had 8 top 10 finishes at the games this year. His worst finish was 22nd. That sounds a lot like Medeiros.
Yeah. Like I feel like he's a very consistent athlete, but like if those are, Medeiros would have 8 top 5s, right? And then that's the difference. And I mean, maybe Jay can get there. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Bailey Demena, is it true that Pat's last event was 7 seconds away from taking him second again? So it was actually not, he had to finish within 9 seconds.
Yeah, he said he had plenty of time. I'm like, Pat, it was closer than you think.
Yeah, I don't know if he saw my article. No, so if you, the article I wrote about Pat's how close it was. Yes, there were a handful of athletes that were right behind where he finished. And so he was going to finish in like 4:22. And here it is. He ended up finishing at 4:41. He lost 18 seconds from the no rep. He tied Garrett Clark.
Granted, he's probably taking his time after that, though. Be like, okay, settle down. Like, make sure you hit this.
I mean, he did have time, but he could not have missed again given the time that he took. Like, you know, there was probably a little bit more panic than he was willing to admit, or at least I would have been more panicked, thinking, "Is this going to happen again?" But yeah, I mean, you look at that. Like, if he would have fallen behind Tudor Magda, so if he had lost 10 seconds, he would have ended up losing in a heartbreak fashion to Jeff Adler. So it was very close, and yeah, that was it was a close one for him. All right, next topic. So Tyler, you got to miss out on this, but Saturday was a long day.
Yeah. So can you guys explain to me what happened? I maybe a lot of the fans know what happened, but like from what I can gather, they just kept delaying and or the setup of the event wasn't the right thing, right?
Well,
so go ahead, John.
So they had the duel, and you know how the duels are, like those.
But that was the duel is delayed too.
Right, but I mean, it got delayed for rain, but then
and technical issues. Yeah,
like we're just gonna go on, and then I mean that was like an hour, so it started like an hour later than what it was supposed to. And then the duel, that event, like you know how those events are, they just take forever, like unnecessarily forever. We don't know why they take so long to organize the times, but they freaking do. And it just takes so long to run 20 seconds. And then that event, and then like they cut the ropes out of that event, and it was supposed to be a rope climb, and it didn't rain at all. They delayed because they thought there was going to be rain, and then it didn't rain at all. And then they took some out, and it was, yeah. So they did that, and then they did the deadlift, and the deadlift, they started the girls. They were like, okay, we're going to go up by 5 pounds now at like 375.
Well, they got to the top 5.
Everybody had to hit each weight.
Yeah.
What?
Well, no, it was like the sandbag. Like the sandbag
ladder. Yeah.
Like they had 4 girls go at once, 3, 2, 1, switch, 4 more girls, 3, 2, 1, switch, 4 more girls. But you had 30-second windows to do this. Probably could have been done in 10-second windows. Like you're not going to try the deadlift again. It's not like an Olympic lift.
Well, a couple did. It was futile.
Terrible.
But yeah.
And so that took so long to narrow it down. And then when they got to 375, there was 5 girls left. 385 maybe. Oh, it was one or the other. And then they only went up by 5 pounds. And all of those girls went to like 400, all of them. And then finally, Kyra Milligan got out. Tia got out. Tia hit 400, got out at 405. And then freaking Danny and Laura and Alex Kazan went to like 420. And then Laura got out. Danny got out, and then Alex hit it.
But they had to take up even more time because it was just down to 2 or 3, and so they wanted to give them enough time to recover to get to their next one. And so
it just took so long.
When I went back and looked at it, the women's duel took almost an hour 15. The men's duel took an hour. The women's deadlift took almost an hour and a half, and the men took an hour. A little over an hour.
And it really felt like they tried to speed up the men's both times, right? Like their turnarounds were like much faster and all that. And I don't know why we don't just do that in the first place. Like it's not gonna take, like, man, that took a long time. Let's try to let's get a move on here. Like just do that from the start. I left, Tyler. I watched the deadlift from a pizza place, and it was fine. I saw everything. I could not. I was done after the women's. The women's, it took, and if you stayed for the men's, it was like 10:30 by the time the men got done. And then Spin, thank God, was like,
cancel the show.
Hey, we're just gonna go on tomorrow. And I'm like, sounds good.
Yeah, I think
I'm
everybody
waiting
was
to, like, have the
done.
podcast.
Like it just felt like even on our thread, like everybody was just like dying watching this thing. And like
You
if
should have
we're
done a watch
dying,
party.
oh man, it was
Just pull it
was
up on a
tough.
screen, but then
And then
like
just-
start the stream and like
I-
yeah, Rogue's doing that, so you might as well do the same thing.
I don't have enough monologue to cover the amount of dead time there was. And so
No,
like
at that point you're just gonna be start talking about lunch you had or something.
that's my question to you guys is like, all right, let's skip Thursday, but we had 3 days of competition. Like that takes all day. Like even Friday, like Pat said, it was supposed to be a short day. It was supposed to be from like late or early afternoon to mid-afternoon, and they were done. It ended up stretching out to the mid-evening. You have that, you have all day Saturday, which those 2 events took 7 hours with lots of downtime, and then you have Sunday. Like, how do we make it such that people that are not diehard CrossFit fans are interested in watching this thing? Like, it's a huge time commitment.
So the other format would be like the weightlifting format, where it's like we're just going to add 5 pounds, and if you can hit it, you step up, and if not, like you're out, right? But you don't have to hit each weight. You just come in where you want and then leave where you want.
I like that. I like to just come in where you want.
It doesn't drive the drama. Maybe it does, I guess. Because then, like,
drama is at the end. You wait this
Right.
whole time for the payoff at the end, right?
Yeah.
The sandbag event was really boring until it wasn't, and then it was awesome, right? Like
nobody cares if you miss a deadlift at 5:15.
Right. Like that's no. And
Unless it was Vellner or
well, it'd be 6:15
or Roman or
but-
something. Like no, but I'm saying like if Roman or Vellner or Adler went out that early, like that would be kind of exciting.
Yeah,
or
Adler went
interesting
out
to
at
watch.
5:45. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think you could just come in when you want to come in, but once you come in, you don't get to go back out. Like you do every lift after
you're
that.
just done. Right. So like the 2014 clean and jerk ladder that they had. At the games.
Pickwitch
Yes,
platform.
Right.
yes. And I mean,
I think you could come in at like 275, 325, and like it kept going from there. I don't think it was 325 because I think Rich hit like 330 or something.
I think it was 305. But they were like, it wasn't everybody went together. It said 3, 2, 1 switch, and then like you continued to move on. At some point, there was 30 guys lifting at the same time.
Yeah.
But when you run it like that, plus you do it the last people, like the way they did it, like Rich was like the last guy to go. I think Khalifa was in first at that point. So Khalifa was the last guy to go. Rich was the second to last guy to go to get on a platform. So like you have the last people go anyway, right? And like you get all of the drama. You still get Chandler hitting 615 or 610, whatever he hit. And they're just in a line. And like maybe that's more easily done at the games than it is at Rogue, because there's a little bit more space at the games. You know what I mean? Rogue's just had that like 4 platforms.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. Right. Alex Kazan had to do 18 deadlifts at like really, really heavy weight.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
On top of doing the duel, which was all of the sandbags and 120 snatches.
I did the Hulk hands workout, and it was gnarly.
Do you have the Hulk hands?
No, I don't have the Hulk hands. I just use 70-pound dumbbells. But I used what I had. Okay, I did a plate push for the sled track. Okay, but it was gnarly nonetheless. I did 5 clean and jerks, and then I put that 5th one down. I was like, bro, that was so hard to do.
That's something I was upset about. Was I think I caught was they took the pegboard out, which totally changes the workout,
especially for the women.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh.
Well, and then they put in handstand walking.
Right.
So they basically were like, hey, guys, Danielle Brandon's not doing well enough. We gotta give her a win.
And Victor Hoffer.
Right.
And Victor Hoffer, yeah.
Because I was watching Travis in that, and he was doing well, but I was like, man, he would have done so much better had he had the pegboard. And I think it changes the entire stimulus of the workout overall. Like, you don't have to
Completely
there
different
and
workout.
yeah, you have to your core is going to be used in an explosive fashion, and then it has to like sit there in isometric during the climb. And I was just like, I don't know. To me, it was. I get
It's
you want to
fine.
be
I'm fine with the
compassionate,
workout. I'm fine with
right?
the workout, but it is a completely different workout.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be compassionate towards Bill and Katie and what they pulled off, and it's like we still appreciate that part, but it's like, damn it, like
It's hard.
Yeah.
The weather
Yes.
really, really makes it hard.
right.
Yeah. And like for the duel, speeding up, my recommendation is you do the men and the women. Right.
Together.
And so you do the one round of men, you do one round of women, vice versa, whichever way. So when you're taking the 20,
times.
when you're taking
the
10 minutes
times.
to go tally the scores, the other group is going.
Oh, I see.
And,
yeah.
And set up the sandbag so one is on the right side and one is on the left side, color code them so that like it's, if you're men, you
you're
turn to
doing
the
your
right. If you're women,
tally
turn them
while
to the left to get your sandbags up and they're in a line instead. So they're not in the way. And it would just move things along. You probably get done in an hour and a half for both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or faster. Steph, do we think they'll find a new location next year that'll have indoor options?
I got the vibe that they would like. It was hard because of the rain. Like you didn't really truly know how many people were there, but it made me think like this might be the last year they do it at a baseball stadium because it didn't feel like that many people were there on Friday.
It did feel like there was less people than last year.
Okay,
but
yeah,
I
good.
still felt
John,
like
you
a
were
lot
there.
of people were there. But it did feel like there was less people than last year.
Yeah, and kind of the bigger question beyond these two events is like, is there a way to do something to help bring people into the sport that doesn't require, I mean, I don't know, 20-hour commitment over the weekend or more? Like, it's such a tough.
Like if you're gonna watch the games, that's basically a 20-hour weekend. Like, I mean, this is the biggest. The winner of this got $278,000. This is the biggest CrossFit competition that is not the games. All of the fittest people in the world do this competition, like truly the fittest people in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think the 20-hour commitment thing, like I don't think that's if you are a fan, you're going to watch it. It's not Rogue is not something that's on ESPN. It's not something that they try to broadcast. I feel like Rogue is more for the CrossFit fan. It's not for reaching people. That's the games. That's CrossFit.
But there's been a lot of talk of making it a season, selling a big package to ESPN, having all these different, competitions on there in the off season. I'm just trying to figure out, like, you can't dedicate that many weekends to only watching this.
Right. So it's like you sort of move to more of like a baseball game thing where it's like you have to have day competitions, first of all, I think. But it's like how you can't really get a good test of fitness in. The most you can do is probably 5 events. And that's really starting to push it. And then it's like how many people want to travel way far away to do a day competition? Like there's all these weird things. And that's where I think like it should be more regional, where it's like you compete with people that are within like a state level or something.
I disagree so much with this.
I get what you're saying, John, but it's like, do we keep bashing our heads in the wall and trying to get more viewers while also not changing anything? Like we're not the viewer experience of the sport is no different than it was in 2014.
Is Rogue's goal to get more viewers?
I'm saying
it would be if it were me.
Saying, or any competition that we watch, whether it's Rogue, Dubai, Madrid, Wadapalooza, anything, like from the elite standpoint of the most eyeballs are on it, like, is there a way to make it more viewer friendly so that people could actually watch it that aren't diehard fans?
What you guys are suggesting will water down the competition. And I think more eyes will see it, but won't care. Like you'll lose the diehard fans if you do regional competitions, if you do state competitions, if you do things that are just one day and not the weekend. You can't have a total test of fitness. The winner for dang sure ain't making $278,000 if you're doing those things. Like, I get what y'all are saying. I think you should appreciate what we have. And the winner of Rogue had the money for Rogue has gone up every single year. Every year, it's gotten more money.
See, Katie, anything bad John said about you, he just made up for it, right? We're not. I mean, John, it's like we're just pontificating here. It's not like anything we're saying is going to be.
I know. No, I know. But I want y'all to think about this. Like, there's only one other competition where we get to have everybody. I don't care if it's viewer friendly. This is the only other competition in the whole world where all the fittest people in the world gather up and do it. I kind of like that it's small because you get to see the athletes much more. It feels more personable.
I don't.
You get to see all the, like, if you go to Rogue, you get to see the Brian Friends. You get to see the Matt Frasers walking around. You get to see the Medeiros in his suite. Like, they're all there. All the big names are there. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that you shouldn't.
A lot of people are.
I'm saying, is there a way to condense it and make it so that it's actually packageable, or could
what
you
package
fit?
Do you want?
I'm saying,
tell me what you want.
I want something that I don't have to that. And again, look, like, I watch all this stuff, right? Like, that's not the issue. It's getting the people that are also CrossFitters who don't have the time or don't care to watch 10 hours a day of a competition.
Well, that's what YouTube is for. Fast forward.
Yeah, but that's like week after. That's when
You're
it
talking
doesn't
about
matter.
live numbers.
Yeah,
I'm saying, like, can you condense it? Can you make it into a 3 or 4 hour day, but still get the same type of competition?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can do the same events.
You definitely can't do the same events, but I don't think it's a sliding scale. It's like, what do you want to optimize? Because that's what you're going to move towards. But what the story I was going to tell, and it's like, I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings. Like, one of my friends won the Pensacola Beach Brawl Elite competition, but it's like, I don't care who won Pensacola. It was a day-long competition.
Yeah,
he's always yelling.
I feel
he's always yelling.
I
I don't take offense. Yeah, I mean, I just throwing it out there. Like, we always talk about growing the sport. Can we grow it being a competition that takes that much to watch? That's really,
that's always the game, right? But then you, like, turning John into an avatar. There's people who are in kind of his camp that's like, they want it the way it is, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, John. Like, for the most part, I'd probably rather have it this way. Like, if it's having it this way or having something that's way diluted, I'd rather have it this way. It's just, when people keep using the friggin' phrase like professionalization just equals money, and money equals eyes on the day that it's live competition. And it's like, how do we move that needle? And I don't know
think
that we can.
$278,000 is moving the needle?
That's just Rogue's money.
That's Rogue going in the hole.
I get it, but it's more money than anybody else is doing.
Yeah, but what happens when Rogue has a rainy day?
Rogue's got money.
We have one breadwinner. We have one golden goose.
Right. Like, even Dubai couldn't keep up their crazy prize money. And it's not even crazy close to Rogue.
The golden goose that keeps on giving.
I don't think Rogue is going to ever go away, dude.
But the question, John, is, if we have more viewers, could we have more competitions like Rogue, where $278,000 is commonplace?
I think you'd have to grow a lot more for that to happen.
Right, and that's the question: is how?
I don't think you make I don't think you make another Wadapalooza in California. I think you just, whatever resources you want to do in California, just double the size in Florida, or double the size of California. Just move the whole thing. I don't think splitting the two up is the best thing to do.
You think you can double Wadapalooza?
They're trying to make a whole nother one in California, Tyler.
Yeah, I understand that because they know they can't double the size of Wadapalooza as it currently is. Have you been to Wadapalooza?
I have not.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's no room for anything. And you want to put
I'm saying
20,000 people there in a day?
Move the venue.
Okay. Even still, it's going to become
place.
It's going to become like going to Kings Island or Disney World. You're not going to be able to walk around. It's like this isn't fun anymore for anybody.
Yeah. People go to Wadapalooza every year.
At 10,000, not at 20,000.
Oh, well, that's more people. Like what? What
Yeah,
are you talking
John,
about?
the Wadapalooza venue, you can't move it from Bayfront.
No, you can't. It's
like people have suggested taking it away from there and like going to a different place. And I'm pretty sure that Dylan and O'Keefe back when he was involved was like, absolutely not. Like that you take away the Bayfront Park and you take away Wadapalooza. Like
that's fine. I mean, no, that's fine. If it's a culture, like it's a culture, I get it. But I just don't think hey, let's just make another one. I don't think that's gonna be the
and I don't and Travis, I'm not saying like a competition is 4 hours and that's it and you go home, but like could it be
viewing experiences?
Could it be 3 nights in a row that fits within 3-4 hour windows?
I just you can't do events like that.
Oh, I don't hate this idea. So what if this is a good idea. So you have like a participation-based competition so that people like Travis at Vindicate can sell shirts all day. But prime time, 6 to 9, is the elites only. You run it for 3 days. And then we get to see those. But you'd have to fit 2 to 3 events in that 3 to 4 hour window.
I think you're doing a disservice to the athletes when you do that. They have to recover. You're not going to get their best. Like one, you're limited.
I'm not though.
You're limited to the events you can do. If you're doing, hey, we're going to do 3 events in 3 hours.
I agree, but it's not a disservice to the athletes to pay them.
No, but you're not. You're not going to get to recover. You're not going to get to they're not just Madden players that you.
But what do you say about the deadlift?
8 games straight.
What do you say about the deadlift, John? They don't need enough time. Whatever they get, they're fine. Right? don't keep extending this thing out.
For one event, yes, I'm talking recovering from an event. You can't crush people and then just crush them again in 10 minutes. Like you can't. Then it's a different. It's a different thing then. And I think that's irresponsible. I think you can
program to fit that
athletes. Though. No, you can, but then it's different. It's a different test of fitness that way. You know what I mean? Like you can't. They're all going to be sprinty events, and it's way, way different.
Yeah, but this was games level programming. Like games level programming probably shouldn't be that viewer friendly for the most part.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying about Rogue.
You want to keep that games level programming.
Yeah, yes. The games people are here. If you want to do local competitions and state champs, if you want to do local competitions and state invitationals or whatever that is, then that can be done in 3 hour time periods. And we don't have to, and that can be run like a local competition, right? Your local 1 day competitions, but with the fitter people, people. I just don't think that's going to be like the money grab y'all think it's going to be.
So essentially, we would need to cut 3 events out of the competition that already existed. Is what we're saying. Like limit it down to 6. 3 days, 6 events.
6 events. It's like a regional volume for these types of competitions.
But do it in a 3 hour window each night.
Yeah. Patrick Clark here. Castro does it every year. Sunday at the Games is essentially just 3 workouts in 5 hours. Yes, and they did break up some time to give people time to go between vendor village and stuff. Now the question is, can they do that 3 days in a row? Right?
No.
That's the question.
And one of them workouts for dang ain't like a long endurance thing.
Right. The last one's usually very short.
It's all CrossFit-y stuff.
Yeah.
I've actually never thought of this before. If you run a CrossFit competition, you always have the men and the women together. But what if we segregated the competitions? So it's like men did like this event, and then like women did like Rogue has an event in November that's for the men, and then Rogue has an event in December that's for the women. You can speed up the heats. Like there's no transition you have to worry about. Like
I don't like that either.
I
Why?
think going back and
They're in
forth is
completely
fine.
different pools.
I think going
Because,
back and
I
forth
mean,
is fine because you need that. You do need the rest between the events.
But if you're trying to fit 2 to 3 workouts in a 3-hour window, like you really got to be on your shit.
Oh, 100%. And I think it'll be interesting to see what the CrossFit Games in 24 looks like with only the individuals and teams and what that schedule looks like. Because
CrossFit needs to bring back the Invitational.
Okay, we can talk about that too. I mean, that was even worse. You want to talk about volume, but like, look at what they could do. It was a 1-day competition for the most. It was 1 day, right? It's not 2 days.
Yeah, it was 1 day. It was like 2 hours, like 4 events.
Yeah, and they flew through it, like so much volume. It's
Like,
way worse.
No, what I'm saying is, you could have like a series, an invitational series of like 7 different ones, and then if this is in the off season, it would be after Rogue, right? And just hosted by CrossFit. It could be during December, January, and then athletes can register for it. You can pick to be in it, right? Like, they can have invitations, but you can pick to be in it if you want to be in it. Like, you can enter your name. Obviously, everybody's not going to want to do that. But if you're in it, you have 7 different dates. It's every 3 weeks. And then it's a series of basically invitationals. And then there's a winner at the end of it. And you win the CrossFit Invitational Series or something like that. And that can give you 7 one-day competitions of elite athletes, 3 events, 4 hours each series. Whatever, like however you want to work it. And that gives you something in the off season. And you cover a lot of time that way because it's like one every like 2 or 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
So now, instead of having sanctionals like we did have, Rogue owns 6 sanctionals, is what you're saying.
No, not Rogue. Not Rogue. This is CrossFit.
CrossFit owns 6 sanctionals.
No, it's not a sanctional. This is just something
just
completely
a small
different.
1 day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like it's called something different. It's not hey, Filthy 150. It's not the Mac. It's not the Syndicate. It's not
so different from that, John. Those competitions were 3 days, and I'm just saying you shortened them to
those
1.
Those gave you leeway to go to the games, right? That's what sanctionals were. You win that, you go to the games. This is not. This is a whole different thing. It's just a series. And then the winner, you get a couple, you get some change if you win one. If you win the whole thing, like aggregate, you get $100,000. If you win one, you get $10,000.
What I'm saying is we were almost there. All we had to do is make a couple changes.
It was all divided up.
Yeah.
It was all divided up. Everybody had their own
disagree.
thing. Everybody ran their own competition. This wasn't CrossFit. They were like, hey, we want y'all to, everybody runs their own competition. We're going to take like 19 of y'all. And everybody's confused about what works and what doesn't. And everybody does their
who
own
qualifies.
events and who qualifies. And then like the 9th person down got to go to the games. It wasn't like that at all. This is a whole different thing. It means nothing for the games. It's like Rogue's its own competition. This is CrossFit's own thing they do in the off season. And obviously you're not going to get you might not get like the Vellners or the Medeiros of the world, but you could get the people underneath them.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this one sums it up that this shows why they don't change the structure because no one can agree. So I don't know. I mean, I just had the thought of it as I was sitting there on Saturday, like dying watching this all day thing and seeing the duel go and the deadlift go. And I'm like, I'm on hour what of this? Like hour 12 or 13 of being engaged in what's going on at Rogue and thinking like, is there a better way to, to bring somebody in? So that's really what I wanted to talk about there.
I got on a lot of tangents. I apologize.
It did, but that's good. There's a lot of things to think about. Dave Castro's week in review, he brought up that the 2024 Open will remain at 3 weeks. Are you a fan? Or do you like the old 5 week? A lot of people are throwing out 4 week. Where do you stand on it? We'll start with John.
yes, I'm a fan. I think the Open should be 3 weeks, and then you get a week, and then it's quarterfinals. I think how it's run right now is I enjoy how it's ran right now a lot. Because if you're in the quarterfinals, it is 5 weeks. And if you're not in the quarterfinals, it's 3 weeks. And it's a 5-week thing. I agree everything what Castro said. It does put like a damper on affiliates. Like it's hard to be on fire for 5 weeks straight. Usually by the 3rd week, people start to peter out.
Which he also said, like as he got to week 3, 4, 5, it started to tail off.
I do think I do think the programming is going to get criticized a lot because it's only 3 events, and there's probably going to be a part A, part B, and I know Chase hates that because the part B is going to be a max out lift, right?
Oh man,
it'd
be so cool to do a part B that was just another workout.
I think they'll get to that at some point.
They might get,
I think so too.
I wouldn't put it past them. But like I enjoy just having 3 weeks. I think for the most part, it gets everybody in that's supposed to be in. Top 10% is not a hard goal if you're fit. You know what I mean? If you're relatively fit, usually the best person in your gym won't have a problem getting to quarterfinals, like in a local gym. Like not even like a competitive gym. Just he's really good at CrossFit or she's really good at CrossFit. You don't even have to lift very heavy. And then you got quarterfinals right after that. You got a week and then quarterfinals. Like I like how the current setup is, and I think we should continue that. And I don't think we should make a habit. Like that's one of them things like I don't want to change. We change every freaking 3 years or 2 years. Like let's just, if you want to professionalize the sport, quit changing the freaking sport. And just have
That's
a
true.
system.
Tyler?
I mean, there's no point in arguing. It's like obviously the better way to go. It's I get nostalgic for the 5 weeks. I actually enjoyed week 4 and 5 when people started bitching. I thought it was funny, and like I enjoyed the slog of week 5 when you were like mentally, it was just mentally the hardest thing because you like had to amp yourself up again. Like you were probably going to have to do the workout twice. Like there was all these different factors, and it was part of the game that I enjoyed, but it was not a sustainable part of the game if you run an affiliate. So I totally understand.
I've never had a problem doing 5 weeks. Like it's just another workout. You get fit enough. It's just your morning workout, and then you're going to work out again in the evening. Like it's not
right.
But
and you're right. Like quarterfinals is week 5. It's even kind of better than week 5 because it's like you're a little bit refreshed. Usually you have that like a week off or something, and then you do quarterfinals. So I really enjoy that. But yeah, it's great. And if anything, they should have more events throughout the year that are like 2 weeks or something, just so we can keep a participation base going throughout the year. Something different, sort of like the team thing that they used to do, the team series, or I don't know, whatever else.
I hated all those different series. Never got any participation.
I did too. They never landed. I liked the spirit of them, but they never landed the right way.
Well, because you knew that Ben Smith and whoever, Camille or whoever was going to team up on Team Rogue was going to do that. And then it was like, well, I'm never going to win a prize. It's not really, there's nothing there for it. So I'm not going to do it. What we got here? Patrick Clark. The Open isn't supposed to be a well-rounded test. It's a barrier of entry to the next stage.
I just see the comments like hiding. You do? I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I disagree. This is for the public.
I think it should be well-rounded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not going to encapsulate all of fitness. You can't test everything in 3 weeks. But like I thought like if you take last year's Open, I thought for the most part that's well-rounded. It's just not like it just doesn't cover a whole bunch of. You can't be super broad.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
right.
But he's not saying it should just be 3 single modality things.
Right.
That's not what he's saying. It's just people in the comments are like saying like it's not. You can't cover a whole thing of fitness, and he's just saying it's a barrier to the next stage. It's not supposed to be the well-rounded get-all test. That's the games.
I think the tests themselves should be well-rounded, all 3 of them. But yeah, you're not going to get like a 5K response and then mixed with like a 1 rep max deadlift. Like you're not.
But I mean, a shuttle
yeah.
run bonanza and a 1 rep max thruster right after it. Like I feel like for the most part they're pretty good about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're great. But the spirit of it should be that they're well-rounded snapshots of fitness. You can't. It's as much as you can encapsulate in a 15-minute time period. 3 15-minute time periods.
Mr. Cherry, if it stays at the current format, the Open will never matter.
That's because
Probably.
the more money is involved, it'll start mattering. The winner of the Open got $50,000. It would matter.
No, did you listen to Chase and Bill did a podcast on this, and one of Chase's things from the Open was if you are top 10 or something, you should get a bye into quarterfinals or something like that, or I think it was semifinals. And I said, well, why not 30? Because then you make it a real 10's really high, but 30, the top 30 athletes, like people will really try for that.
I like the top 10 idea. Like you get to go straight to semifinals.
Yeah.
But like you have to think about it, like maybe like the top 5 in each region, because you're dealing with regions.
Yeah.
So like the top 5 in the Open in each region.
Well, and top 10 in North America because it's a bigger region, maybe.
Well, I mean, you see who's North America West and North America East. Like you get top 10 because it's both of those, right?
Yeah.
But only 10 make it. I don't think you can do much more than 5 because only 10 make it, right? So there's only 6 spots available.
Well, no, they qualify to semis, and then there'd still be 60 going to semifinals. It would just be 10s get quarterfinals.
That's what I'm saying. Since the barrier to entry at semis is so low, like why not just make it 30?
I was jumping.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I got confused. I agree with you guys.
And then all of a sudden, like you have some real competition going on.
It's worth it.
And it's a simple change. Nothing has to change for that.
Yeah.
And nothing would have changed. All of those guys would have made the semifinal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Anybody that makes top 10 in the Open is going to semifinals. Patrick Clark, since there's no prize money for the quarters, arguably the quarters is the most important to the huge cut, right? Like, obviously there's more on the line at semifinals, but for a lot of the athletes, there's probably 100 of them that are in it for the top 60 or in, the smaller regions, 50 out of the, are in that picture for the top 30. So,
yeah. And work programming really matters. There's still specialists in quarterfinals. It's really tough. There's a lot of good athletes that don't make it every year just because of one mess up. So,
yeah. And I think a lot of the debate centers around the sport. You have the non top 10%, the bottom 90%. And then the affiliate owners, they all have different perspectives, right? Like the sport, it probably works best the way it is. 3 weeks, and then you go to quarterfinals. The other 90% say, I'd probably like to have more time in the Open to participate in it. And then the affiliate owners are like, please stop. I can't do this anymore. Right?
I don't want to buy any more tape. Please.
I might be able to do 4 weeks, but I can't do that plus quarterfinals and everything else.
Yeah.
So, you come across from 3 different angles and you don't get to an agreement. And the last topic, the Heat 1 winner of the Barbell Spin Patreon. John, I think analysis runs in your family.
John, did you win? Oh my God.
Oh man, my mom won?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Mrs. Young.
I didn't even know that.
Man, I figured
she would brag about that like crazy.
So yeah, I don't know if she picked. Let's see. She
is this for the top 10? This isn't the.
This is just top 10. This is top 10.
Okay.
She had
She's
Jeff
still
Adler,
really good though.
Yeah.
Jeff Adler in first, Vellner in second, Ricky in third. Her biggest miss on the men's side was Chandler Smith in fifth.
I don't even know if she knew she won.
And then on the women's side, she called Laura Horvath as the winner. She had Emma in second, Tia in third. Her biggest miss on the women's side was she had called Paige Powers in eighth. but she
Paige Powers
finished
got what?
13th.
13th.
13th. So like she got all 9s, 10s, and a couple 8s
Good job,
Nice.
Mom.
plus Paige.
Jackie,
you
what
know.
happened? You know Jackie's listening. I don't even know.
Yeah, so Shelly wins a barbell spin flag and a bag of thirdsy. So
Those flags are rare, right? There's only like a few.
there's
of
only
them.
there's only a handful. So yeah.
I don't even have one.
Hit that on the resale market, Shelly.
So maybe it'll be under the Christmas tree for you, John. But yeah,
So wait,
yeah.
if John's mom gives John that
that's
flag
awesome.
for Christmas, does that mean I give John that flag? Because Heat one's mine. So you're welcome, John.
Thank you, Tyler.
Hey, I do have to brag though about
That
Heat
means
1.
a lot. That means a lot.
Heat 1 handled Rogue much better than the games. It was a
Yeah,
good experience
no mess.
throughout.
You know what's funny?
No bogs or nothing like that.
You know
No,
what's funny?
I think it slowed down a little bit when they changed an event. I can't remember which one it was, but there were no crashes that I was aware of. And I definitely like the ability for people to create their own groups. I don't know if you know how many groups were actually created, but there were a lot, it looked like.
I need to ask Adam, but I think there were a few hundred. And that's exactly what we wanted. So thank you everybody who participated.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. All right. Good show again. For those who did not win a free bag of Thirdsy, head over to thirdsy.com. If you use code BBS, you can save 20% and get your best night's sleep ever. So thank you, everyone. John, Tyler, any closing remarks before we shut this thing down?
No. Sorry I missed out on all the shows last week.
It was kind of expected. We knew it. We knew it even if you didn't know it.
There will be more shows.
That's right.
I thought you said it runs in my family, and I thought you were for sure going to show me that my dad had one, and I was going to have to hear crap about that forever because he's pretty smart with those type of things too. And then you showed my mom, and I honestly could not believe it.
You're not getting one, John. It's gonna
nice.
be in the garage.
It's okay. All right. That's
yep. And if you're still watching, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. I see you all. 50% of you guys don't subscribe, so I'm watching you.
It's rude.
Hold on.
Subscribe.
Shout out to Melanie. I saw her at Rogue. She's a part of the JY Barbell Club. She came and seen me, and we had a little barbell lesson. It was really fun. So shout out to her. I saw her in the comments, so I'm just shouting her out.
Awesome. All right, 1999. Thanks, Jack.